Good morning, Rabbi Sai. We're holding the Tzadik Vav by the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Chavite Kohen Gadol. You have these breads that a Kohen Gadol brings every single day. 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening. The way it works is that he would bring flour from his home, as in, I don't know, my button is not working. A larger kli, an isarid, and then he would divide it in half with a smaller kli. If I were to ask you right now, is there a difference between the larger kli and the smaller kli in terms of kedusha? So you guys probably wouldn't know, wouldn't remember. So the Mishnah actually tells us. So, what we're going to see here is as follows. Since the Chatzi Isarin Kli has Kedusha, only it has Kedusha, not the larger Kli. The larger Kli doesn't have Kedusha. So if you take a look at the Mishnah on the Tzadik and the Beis, just throwing it out there, maybe out of order, but it says, Achas shtei alechem v'achas lechem aponim, the 2 breads of Shavuos and the lechem aponim that we put on the shulchan every week, lishasan v'arichasan bachutz, you can do it outside of the Chazarah. Now look at this Mishnah. Why? Why the difference? The answer is very simple. Because shtei alechem and lechem aponim we use the larger kli called the isaron, and that doesn't have kedusha. The Chavite Kohen Gadol we use the smaller kli that has kedusha. Once it has kedusha, the clock starts ticking. Isurim come into effect. What isur? The isur yotzei, the isur lina. All these isurim start coming into effect. So you can't take it out of the Beis Hamikdash. Therefore, if you use the smaller kli, so it can't be in your home. You can't do the smaller kli in your home because now you just gave it kedusha, and now it's in your home, which is outside the Beis Hamikdash. You're over and yotzei on the spot. So therefore, Chavite Kohen Gadol lishasim v'arichasim v'afiyasim b'fnim. Let me just show you Rashi real quickly, then we'll show you a beautiful video. You'll understand it even better. It says Rashi. So what is the difference between the large kli and the small kli? That is the one that's Mashiach for Moshe Rabbeinu who put the oil, made it Kadosh. So why didn't they do the same thing for the larger one? Since it's used not only by the Kohen Gadol, by other people, by anybody that brings a mincha, he has to measure the Yisaren. So you could bring it outside of a mistake. So that didn't have Kedusha. So that's why it explains to us why the smaller one has Kedusha, larger one not. Now, these are the things that the Mishnah mentions. In the Mishnah, we're going to see Lisha, the kneading of the Aricha, putting it into a form. Va'afiyasan is the baking. Then you have Tchina and Harkada. Tchina is to grind it. Harkada is to sift the flour. These are the 5 things. So some of them happen before the half a kli, the half a yisarin. So they don't have the kedusha, and it's not a problem of yaitza, like grinding. You could grind outside of the Beis Hamikdash. You don't have to bring a grinder into the Beis Hamikdash because you didn't put it into the kli yet. So let's see the video. Aricha, Afia, and then you put 6 breads in the morning, 6 in the evening. Okay, so says the Mishnah, Chavite Kohen Gadol lishasan, marichasan, v'afiyasan b'fnim. So memela, the Aricha, the Lisha, the Afia, this is all post the Chatzi Yisar Kli, so it already has Kedusha, so you have to make sure it's inside the Beis Hamikdash. V'doichos is a Shabbos. So again, and why yesterday's daf, shtei alechem and lechem aponim, the aricha and the lisha could be outside because it's using the larger kli. Great. V'doichos is a Shabbos, it pushes off Shabbos. You could do all this stuff on Shabbos. Chinasan v'arkadasan ain't doichos a Shabbos. But grinding and sifting the flour you could do in a factory somewhere. It doesn't push off Shabbos. Klal amar Rabbi Kiva, kol malacha shev shel Shabbos ain't doichos a Shabbos. Any malacha that you could do before Shabbos, Like in Bris Milah, we had the same thing. You can bring the izema, you can bring the knife before Shabbos, so you do before Shabbos. And the Doichas Shabbos, you can't push off Shabbos because of that. The Shiev Shalol La'asoi Shabbos. But anything that you can't do before Shabbos, Doichas Shabbos. Kol ha-menachos yesh bohem ma'aseh kli b'fnim. All menachos, you have to do the different avodah of lisha and aricha inside a kli, inside the Beis HaMikdash, b'fnim. You do it with the kli inside the Beis HaMikdash. Ve'ein bohem ma'aseh kli b'chutz, and you don't do these things outside of the Beis HaMikdash. The lisha, the aricha, the kneading, the forming of the bread. Shtei alechem, the two breads, arka shiva tfachim. Okay, so a tefach, the machlokes between Chaim Noah and Chazon Ish, is a tefach like 4 inches or 3 inches, 8 centimeters or 10 centimeters. I forgot, I put my tape measure, my American one, but I forgot to bring it. I have the Israeli one, 10 centimeters. This is 10 centimeters, like 4 inches. So we're going to go like say with the Chazon Ish, 10. So 77, it says 7 tfachim, right? Shiva tfachim, like this. And Rachba arba tfachim. It's a suitcase, basically. It's the size of a suitcase. The problem is, here, we're going to get to a problem now with the suitcase. Right over here, oh, I should have done this one. It's a little easier on the flat part. Right over here, they put horns. How big are these horns? Arba etzbois. 4 fingers. Basically, almost a tefach. Lechem aponim. Arkoi asar tefachim. Oh, so lechem aponim is almost a meter, according to Chazon Ish. So now, it worked out Meridik, I'll tell you why. Check this out. So this is the suitcase, right? It's not a problem. So you get here, I need another 30, right? Here we go. Another 30. Here we go, another 30. It's Meridik. Lechem Apon, imagine this. Your Lechem Apon is this big, this wide, with the same, unbelievable. We're going to see it's boys. Lechem Apon Marko Yasar Tfachim V'roch B'chamisha Tfachim. Now, we have to remember this. The Gemara is going to talk about this. It's easy numbers, 5 by 10. It's double as long as it is wide. It's 10 tfachim long, according to Chazon Ish, a full meter, and 5 tfachim, a half a meter wide. Now, if we pause here, the shulchan was exactly that measurement, 5 by 10. So that means the bread fit exactly on the table. But the problem is, there was 2 stacks of breads. So what do? How did 2 stacks of bread fit if the whole bread takes up the entire table, 5 by 10? It's keren shevetz boys, 1 3/4 tfachim, massive keren, big corners on top. Zedad Yahaz. I have a beautiful way to remember it. Zayin dalad dalad. Zedad. It's 7 by 4, and the tfachim. And the top keren is 2. It is 4 fingers. Zedad. Yahaz. Now, how in the world does this help us? So this is the famous review that says the tzach adash bachav. Zedad Yahaz. Okay. Yahaz is 10 tfachim by 5 tfachim. Yud Hey. And Zayin, the keren is 7. Ben Zoyma Oimer, Venosata al Shulchan Lechem Panim Lefonai Tomid, Lefonai. Lechem Panim Shuloi Panim. What is Lechem Panim? It should have faces. It shouldn't be like our bread today is a roundish kind of bread. It's a glob of dough. It should be faces. It should have walls. Like a lechem panim is square. Another pshat is pinim. It should have like angles. So it basically should have that keren on top. Okay. Hashulchan orkoi asara v'roch boy chamisha. The shulchan is 10 tfachim long. V'roch boy chamisha, 5 tfachim wide. Lechem aponim orkoi asara v'roch boy chamisha. Each bread is the same exact measurement, 10 by 5. So what do? You take the long way, the 10 tfachim, and put it on the short way, on the 5 tfachim. Noisen arkoi keneged rachba shel shulchan. So you take the long bread and you put it on the short. So now you have a couple of tfachim extra on each side. How many total tefachim do we have extra? We have 5 total, and on each side we divide the 5 by 2. So it's 2.5 on each side. Again, it's 10 tefachim long, and you put it on the 5 tefachim width. So you're missing. It overhangs 5 tefachim. If you to do it on one side, it would be 5 tefachim. And now you break it up in 2, and you do it on 2.5 tefachim on this side, 2.5 tefachim on this side. Then what? Then you take it and you fold it up. You fold the bread up, so that the bottom of the bread is only 5 tefachim, and it sits on the width of the table 5 tefachim. So it comes out that you're 5 tefachim on the table. Rebbe Meir and Rebbe Yehuda argue on one thing: how much is a tefach? A nama. A nama either is 5 tefachim or 6 tefachim. So Rebbe Meir holds, it does say in the Torah how big the shulchan is. It says it should be an amma by 2 amma. But how many tefachim does an amma have? Rebbe Meir holds the amma has 6 tefachim. So 6 times 2 is 12. HaShulchan Aruch is 12. And it's 1 amma wide. Amma wide is not 5 tefachim, it's 6 tefachim. V'roch b'shisha. Lechem upon him, but the lechem upon him is the same size according to Rebbe Meir. Arka asar v'roch b'chamisha. Nois and arka can get the roch b'shulchan. So now you put a 10 tefachim bread on a 6 tefachim table. So how many you have overlapping? 4. So you put 2 on each side. So you fold it up, 2 on each. It seems like, from the Tiferes Yisrael at least, that this you do already before you bake it. Now, the table is 12 tefachim long. The bread is 5 tefachim wide. 2 times 5 is 10. And you're on a 12 tefachim table, so you have 2 tefachim extra between the 2 stacks of breads. What do you do with those 2 tefachim? They should have a lot of nice wind, they ask. As we're going to see at the end of the sugya, or somewhere in the end, we're going to mention the story that we spoke about, that there was heat that came out of the bread a week later. It was one of the nisim in the Beis Hamikdash. So why do we need to be careful about the wind? And it was a nace, the whole thing. But at the end of the day, you have to act b'derech hateva and then expect a nace. And sometimes maybe Klal Yisrael wasn't zoich to the nace, different kufas in Klal Yisrael. Not true, as we had many times. Here, the bezichim, the 2 spoons of the levina were in between the breads on the bottom. That's why I need 2 tefachim, not for the ear. It says al. You should put the levina al on top of. If you're going to take the word al literally, so then Ephraim is going to be under Menachos. The Menachos is going to be sitting on top of them. It means, what does it mean? It means that they're going to be living next to, not on top of. So over here also, the levina is next to, not on top of. So these snifim we spoke about the other day, it looks something like, if I can find it, snifin. These walls, according to one shita, were wide walls. There were 4 of them, 2 for each stack of breads, and they kind of held the breads in place. Their heads split, and they would put on them each stack of breads got 2. They had 28 pipes, and they were cut in half. Arba, so let's say there's 14, 28 divided by 2 is 14 to each side. But Arba, so let's say if you have 6 breads and each bread got 3, so 3 times 6, or actually 3 times 12 is 36. But there's only 28 because the top ones didn't get, and we'll see in the Gemara. But anyways, here the kanem, he's putting in a kana. It's not 100% accurate. This is more AI because it seems like the kana is longer. It's already in place and it's already sticking out. Well, you get the idea. It's for later on. Here for this part, to do what he's doing in this picture, to put these kanim in place, you cannot do on Shabbos because that's binyan, and to take them out would be stira, so you can't do that on Shabbos. You do this erev Shabbos. When the bread's already there, you remove the kanim, shel shulchan, and you put it over here, like in this picture. See on the bottom. The kanim are laying underneath the table. but to the length of the table, not to the width of the table. It could be it has to do with this last line. How do you place the? I don't have a great picture here, but this should do for us. This is the length of the Beis Hamikdash, the red arrow. You come in from the Mizrach and you're facing Ma'arav. The Kodesh HaKadoshim is in Ma'arav. So when you're placing the shulchan, the menorah, it should be on the line of the arrow, the red arrow. That's the direction they should be facing. So if we take a look at this picture, mamish shvach, but over here you have the shulchan. It's in the direction of the arrow towards between Mizrach and Ma'arav, not between north and south, Tzaf and Daram. Okay. Says the Gemara, Kol Menachos yesh behem ma'aseh kli mivfnim. Shalos Rabbi, they asked Rabbi, Zuminayin, how do you know that the Lisha, the Aricha need a Kli? Omar lahem, Arei Oimer, it's in the Pasuk. It's talking about Yecheskel, you got a Nevuah. He says, this place right over here, you see the Malach tells him, this is where they're going to cook the Asham, the Chatas. Yeah? Because listen, Shomi Yekonam is the Chatas of the Asham. How are you going to eat a Chatas and Asham? Chatas and Asham, the Kohen gets to eat it. Where do you cook it? You bring it home and cook it? You can't. Why can't you? Yoitze. Once you take it out, it's a big problem. Yoitze. So you have to cook it inside the Beis Hamikdash. Where are you cooking it? Inside a kli. So he says, Asher yoifu is ha-mincha, and also he sticks in right after the Chadas Hashem, the mincha, baking the mincha. So you don't take it outside. Mincha du mida Hashem v'chatos, so it's a hekesh. The mincha is similar to Hashem v'chatos. Ma Hashem v'chatos, sunim kli. Just like the Hashem v'chatos, you cook it in a pot. Af mincha nami to a kli. That's how I know you need a kli. And if you need a kli, it has to be done inside because it gives kedusha. And once it gives kedusha, you cannot take it outside. Says the Gemara. If the breads were 2.5 tfachim wider than the table, and you have to bend it upwards, so then each bread is going to be 2.5. Thank you. Each bread is going to be 2.5 tfachim tall. And memela, check it out. Here we go. Here's the 6 breads times 2.5 tfachim. 2.5, if you do part of Ishmael, this is how I do it. 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. Times 3, because there's 6 breads, right? 6 divided into 2 is 3. So yeah, 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. Times 3 is 15. So you have 15 tfachim height over here. Oh, now, that, even in Panovich, we do it Aryeh's way, because now it's 2, it's not a half. So 2 times 6 equals 12. That most people know. So, what is going on here? Rabbi said, pause for a second. What is Pshat? He's saying that the Kedusha, the table gives Kedusha. The table's on the bottom, that golden piece, gives Kedusha all the way up. 15 tfachim up, 12 tfachim up. Of course it gives Kedusha. What is he coming to tell us? He's coming to tell us that if you take, let's say, a sack of flour and put it on top of those breads, they're going to become Kaddish. Because the Kedusha extends to that area up there. Ask the Gemara, how's your math? How's your math correct here? You're looking at the breads, only the breads. He's telling each bread is 2 tfachim times 6. Each bread is 2.5 tfachim times 6. Either you got the 12 tfachim, you forgot about the little pipes that go in between the breads. They also take up room. Says the Gemara, these pipes don't take up any room at all. They actually they rest inside the bread. You saw there's a little indentation in the bread, they're in the breads. Says Gemara, it makes no sense what you're telling me. Why do you need these pipes at all? You need pipes to keep the air flowing. If they're completely indented in the bread, then the breads are laying on top of each other, there's no airflow. My time is shumi pushi lechem. So it's going to rot or whatever the word is. Mold, thank you. The magbele purta, they extend slightly outside of the bread. Here are the half of the things.
Pipes are for that, or so that they're too heavy one on top of the other. They're going to crush each other.
Well, both and both. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's a beauty.
Aren't the pipes going the wrong direction?
The magule purta, it sticks out a second. So it says purta. So it's not 15. It's 15 plus that little drop that extends. So the Gemara, you're right. We're not going to count that small amount that extends. Ask the Gemara, What about the bezichin that lay on top of the bread? According to this man, the Omer that says it's on top of the bread, so now it extends more than 15 plus a spoon. They're inside. They didn't take up any room. They were on the bottom. And on top, so basically, yeah, they were inside. But what about the corners? You have these giant corners that are 7 fingers each by 7 fingers, or 4 by 4. 7 fingers is 1 3/4 tefachim. It's a pretty significant keren. Says Gemara, kronis legavei de lechem kaiflu. They would have to bend them inside, like this picture right over here. You have the corners, but they're bent inside. V'lechem alayu nochlei, and then you put breads on top of each other. The art scroll wonders if these corners are bent inwards and they're 1 3/4 tefachim, but you also have the actual width of the bread, which is a tefach. So it bends. You can actually see right over here. You see that little square? But kitzer, it's 1 tefach plus 1 3/4 tefachim. Each side is 1 3/4 tefachim is just the corner, that piece by itself, plus the width of the bread. That's 2 3/4. 2 3/4 plus 2 3/4 is more. I don't know the math, but it's more than 5. It's 5.5. Oh, 5.5. 5.5. I know the math. It's 5.5, but it's more than 5. So in Mela, if you look in the art scroll, according to one pshat, he has a pshat that they go inwards. That's why he has these funny looking corners that go like this. First of all, what is Sfina Rikedes? So you, Arya, you sent me a very nice picture, so I'm going to show that picture. This is a nice Sfina Rikedes that... Chachapuri. According to Sfina Rikedes, it's a balagan. I'm not going to get into it. But yes, they do stand, they're on an angle, and they come like this, different angles. B'kitzur, it's a sipur. I'm not getting into the Sfina Rikedes. Vo'ikom izgartoi. Oh, beautiful. I want to remind the Olam, Mizgarti Lamala is, you can see over here, there's a frame around the shulchan on top. Now, this frame is exactly in the 5 by 10. The bread is 5 by 10. It's 5. It cannot fit into this mizgeret. So it'd have to lay on top of the mizgeret. Even that little amount. You can't push around in the base of mizgeret. Everything's exact. So it have to be on this mizgeret. Now the mizgeret is this tall. So you got to count this plus. So it's not 15 tefachim. It's not 12. It's more. It says here, something like this. There was that decorative thing on the bottom. That's the mizgeret. So the top of the table was completely flat. Now, even according to the Mando Omar, it says that they did have a mizgeres. How do you say mizgeres in English? A frame. On top. That you could answer parkude hava miparkido. Check this out. I think Yoshi did this one. But basically, it tilts a little bit, like a guy leaning on a rocking chair, some sort of chair. He's a lazy boy laying backwards a little bit. So there's a little bit of an angle to that frame, and therefore the bread, which is exactly 5 tefachim, fits beautifully inside. And the bread was fit inside. Like we learned, Rabbi Yossi argues on this whole thing, on this whole picture right over here. He disagrees. He says that we didn't have these walls, these snifim. It does say in the Torah snifim, so we have to understand what he meant. He says that the frame, this frame, and that's it. That's what held the bread in place, that didn't let it shift. I guess the weight of each bread weighed 10 pounds, right? 2 shroidim per thing. So we say today it's 2.5 kilos, so about 10 pounds of bread. So you have nice weight, each one on top of the other, and the mizgeres just didn't let it come out of place. So they told him, what are you talking about? You have to have snifim because the mizgeret went downwards. Okay. If you have a piece of wood, a flat piece of wood, like this is not mekabel tuma. Why? Because it's pshutei kliyetz. It's a simple piece of wood. If it has a frame like this, so it could contain something, so it becomes a kli, it's mekabel tuma. So now what do you do with the tabletop? Table is flat. L'chayra, it shouldn't be mekabel tuma. But on the other hand, it has something that that's very similar to a kli that has a base kibble, and that is a table. It's holding Mendi Orbach's tefillin, coffee, glass. It's massive. It has width. It has that itself should make it a kli. So says Rabbi Yochanan, can I prove it from the shulchan? The shulchan is mikabel tuma. Why? Why is the shulchan mikabel tuma? It's just a table. L'chayre, you see from here that even a flat table is mikabel tuma. Oh, so you're going to tell me, but the table had a mizgeres. So according to that Mandomer, you're right. I don't have a great raya. But according to the Mandomer, that the mizgeres was downwards, it was upside down, and this part was flat. L'chayre have a raya that a flat table is mikabel tuma because it's a table, because it has width. A table that I could flip over. It doesn't matter if I use it this way or that way. I guess in those days they had like these portable tables. So they have them today also. You have these legs that go this way, and then you put just a piece of, like a TV dinner kind of thing. What are they called? Snack table. Okay, look up snack table, you'll find it. It goes like this. You put a piece of, but you could go this way or that way. It doesn't matter which way you put it. So tavam misapechas tmeya. Exactly, milchus fleishiks. But that's what they used to bring, because it says they used to move the tables out of there by dessert. There's different gemaras that say, the mafana of the table. Just reading Rashi here. Tmeya. Keshulchan shel migdash shoy mekabel tuma. Can farish the kaman vein tavla zu kishar pshutikli eitz. Why is it not a pshutikli eitz? Is Rashi the ruchavahi? It's very wide. The ruchavahi base kibula. Fine, great. So says the Gemara, but if you say that the frame was upwards, I'm not going to have a good raya from here. So you tell me that the shulchan the Beis Hamikdash was mikabel tuma. I have a big problem. This bookcase right over here, made out of walnut, I think. Yeah, it's walnut. Is it mikabel tuma? No. Why? It's not moving. This one is different. This is mamish built in. Forget that. But maybe even this table right here doesn't move, hasn't moved. This top, yes. The actual table, sometimes people try to push it a little. They try to get coffee, so they give it a shtickle push. Then it comes Kriyas Torah, you can't open up this thing. It wasn't designed 100%. But anyways, next place marriage. But there's certain things, like this table, maybe should not be mikabel tuma. Why? Because it's lenachas. It's just here to stay. It's not meant to be moved. V'kol kliyates ha'asil lenachas mikabel tuma. Any piece of wood that's meant to be in one place is not mikabel tuma. My time, and how do I know this? Dumi the sak bean, and it has to be similar to a sack. Ma sak mitadam alareikon, just like a sack. I learned tuma from a sack, and a sack is something that I could fill up, empty out, but I move it. It's movable. Metaltal. Avkol mitadam alareikon. So too everything else has to be something that I can move, empty and full. Oh. So here comes the Gemara, the famous Gemara, Shulchan Nami Metalta Moliverek. You should know that the Shulchan used to be moved. Kiddush Lakish. Like Rish Lakish taught us, Rish Lakish. Make sure that the Shulchan should be tar. What do you mean, make sure? Tar Meklal Dikatame. What? You can make it tame? El Melamed, yes, you could make it tame. Shemagbi and Oiseloy Regalim Umarim Boy Lechem Oirim Lem. They used to raise it up and show all the people that came for Yontif. They would show them, look at this beautiful nest. It's one of the things that you got, the advantages of going to the Beis Hamikdash, you get to see this nest. Look how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. There's a great miracle that happened with the Lechem Aponim. When they removed the bread on Shabbos, it was just like when they put it on Shabbos, like this says, if they baked it on Shabbos, there was heat coming out. Oh, Rabbi Isai, the tzipuis, if you remember, in the beginning, I'm not going to show it again, but this guy, maybe while I'm saying the Gemara, I could show it again. So put it on low. So you have the covering of the shulchan made out of gold, and that is mikabel tuma l'chayra. So we have to know: does the table go by the wood underneath, or by the not the covering? What's the good word? The plating on top. The plating is mikabel tuma. It says if you have a shulchan hadulbaki, you have a folding chair, shenifchasu got broken, or shechipam b'shayish. Oh, so this also has a plating made out of marble. V'shir ben malkum anochas koisos, and it's large enough to. Oh, did I miss the part where he knocks it and does it? Okay, so over there you can see that he puts in a couple of nails. I mentioned it before. So that was the Shiloh. It doesn't really make a difference. The Gemara says at the end, okay. So you have a broken folding chair, but it has enough room to put some cups on it, to put your beer when you go to the beach, like whatever people do with it. Oy. No. Tamein. Tame. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Makoim hanochas chatichos. Not good enough to put your beer can. You need a larger place to put your steak down for the barbecue. But akopanim shir in loy shir loy. It's only if you have enough space to put your cup. But if not. Why? Why is it not? Why is it not mikabel tum? Because the covering, the plating of the marble takes over, and a plating of marble is not mikabel tuma. So you see the plating. You have to consider the plating. And over here, it's plated with gold, and gold is mikabel tuma. So maybe that's why. Why are you telling me that they moved it? They didn't. Who cares if they moved it? Even if Rish Lakish is wrong, they never moved it. It's mikabel tuma because it has gold. It's a gold kli, and gold is not wood. Gold is mikabel tuma. You'll tell me, oh no. There's an afkamina. The shulchan has a covering that didn't use nails, and if it doesn't use nails, it's just you pop it off. It's not considered a real gold plating. But this exactly is what Rish Lakish asked Rabbi Yochanan. Did the shulchan have a plating that had nice nails? You couldn't remove it or not? As the Bazbazin over here in my Gemara says the Bazbazov, but in Rashi says the Bazbazin, and a lot of Gemara says the Bazbazin. We'll say both readings. I don't know why they said the Bizbazov. I don't know. Oish b'shaloi chipa is the Bizbazov. I know they did a lot of work to get the pronunciation correctly, but Rashi says for sure the Bizbazin with a nun. Fine. What? Oh, it's the Shita. Okay, fine. That's why. Oish b'shaloi chipa is the Bizbazov. So Rabbi Yochanan says, I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if he knocked it in with nails, with glue. Whether you covered the frame, you didn't. It goes by what you covered it with. And so therefore, if you covered it with gold, it should be Mekabel Tumah. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Have a good Shabbos.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.